In a previous lesson, I gave you the definition for area as the amount of space inside an object. I want to talk a little bit more about how we measure that space, that last piece of the sentence, which is we measure it in square units. Well, in the real world, we don't say square units. We actually talk about what unit it is we're really wanting to know something about. So if we were to measure with the ruler in the picture you see here, I have a ruler that you saw on the page, and it has one side inches, one side centimeters. If I were to use this tool, then I would be measuring in either square inches or square centimeters. And the way that those are found would be to take a ruler. If you were to measure off 1 inch on the ruler, which would be that distance, you would draw a square where that was 1 inch on that side, and then you would draw 1 inch on the other side. In fact, every side would be exactly 1 inch. And then we would call that 1 square inch. That's its name. We can also abbreviate that, as you see there, 1 IN with a little 2, or 1 square inch. Those are both ways we can abbreviate it. A centimeter would be taking the ruler and measuring off 1 centimeter, which is smaller than an inch. And then that measurement would be each side of the square. We would call that a square centimeter. Now, you can use that idea to extrapolate it out to really any kind of square units. Many of you, I hope, know that a 12 inches would be a foot. So if we were to take that ruler and we were to extend it out, right, if we were to start here and we were to go about 5 and 10, okay, that would be about 12 inches. That's an estimate. That would be 1 foot for us using the same measurement. Well, if we zoom out a little bit and we, pardon me, and we also measure out 1 foot this way. Now you can see I'm estimating, but I'm giving you the idea. Then we would have this really large square, and what do you think it would be called? Correct. I assume you answered. This would be called 1 square foot because it is a foot by a foot. All right, abbreviated 1 FT with a square. This is a very, very common measurement that we would use in our house. You've probably seen tiles on a kitchen floor or bathroom floor. A very common size is 12 inches by 12 inches or a square foot. There's other size tiles as well. There's 1 18-inch size. There's all kinds of obscure sizes, but this is a very common size. And we actually use this measurement, this space measurement, to talk about the size of a house. And you're going to see that in a future model, future page. So if you think about putting those square tiles, those foot by foot tiles on the bathroom floor or on the floor of the kitchen, what if you did the entire house? That's what we call the square footage of a house. How large a house is means how many of those it takes. Well, these can get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. There's no way I can draw these other ones that I want to draw, but I just use your imagination. So I'm actually going to zoom away from those so you can actually use your imagination. Imagine I started to draw a square over here. All right. That was something on a map. Let's say this was 1 mile on this side and it was 1 mile on this side. This would be something, maybe the size of a small community that I live in, like Carruthers. And so if you were to think about that, that would just be 1 square mile, often abbreviated like that. Okay, and it can go on and on, 1 square kilometer, 1 square, really anything, as long as you determine the unit.